Abba, we thank you for the abundance you've given us, not just in finances, but in life, health, and wisdom. Teach us to be faithful stewards, to resist the greed and gluttony of this world, and to store our riches in your eternal house. May our hearts and treasures be bound to your kingdom, not this world's vanity. In Yahweh's name, APTTMH. Amen. Shalom and welcome back to the Deep Dive. You sent us a really profound stack of sources today. It's all centered on, well, this critical intersection of wealth, stewardship, and our faith. And this isn't just about like financial literacy 101. It's really about navigating modern life, all the consumerist traps, the endless debt cycles, but seeing it through the lens of a Yahweh-centered lifestyle.
It really is the ultimate blueprint, isn't it? For any follower of Yahweh in, well, today's world, 2024, our mission here is to take this ancient wisdom and sort of extract the exact divine strategy for handling abundance. We're looking for the answer to that core tension. How do we store up riches in Abba's house when, every ad, every phone notification is screaming at us to feed Amazon's cart instead?
Exactly.
And maybe, host, for our listener, we should quickly clarify that closing phrase from the prayer, APTTMH.
Oh, quite.
It stands for All Praises to the Most High. It's a necessary acknowledgement, really central to the theological context here, that all power, all glory, it belongs to him.
Perfect setup.
Yeah.
Because we really need to find that spiritual currency, you could say, to separate ourselves from what the sources call the unrighteous mammon.
Right, which is basically money used without conscience, right? Without purpose beyond just gratifying yourself.
Exactly.
And that new calculation, it has to start immediately with redefining wealth completely. Because worldly treasure, it's just temporary. Prone to moth and rust, like the scripture says. Our sources really hammer home Matthew 6, verses 19 to 21. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
And that just shifts everything, doesn't it? The whole gravitational pull of our desires. If your deepest wants are tied up in physical stuff that rusts or loses value, well, spiritually speaking, you're investing in a really volatile market.
A temporary one, yeah. And you see the distinction Yahweh makes right away. Proverbs 10.22, that's the benchmark. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it.
That's powerful because earthly gain, it almost always comes with anxiety or debt or some kind of spiritual compromise,
Right. But Yahweh's true blessing, that brings stability, peace.
And I find that paradox of faith just so compelling here.
Yeah.
We're reminded in James 2.5 that Yahweh often chooses, quote, the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom.
Which he hath promised to them that love him. Yeah.
It just beautifully shows that your net worth and your spiritual currency, they operate on completely different ledgers.
It's a core insight from the material. Yahweh's system prioritizes the quality of your character way over the quantity of your cash.
So the big takeaway from this first part, crystal clear. Your net worth does not equal your kingdom worth. Simple as that. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit more. This shift in culture. How do our sources connect modern consumerism, like directly to a spiritual failure? Because, look around us. We are saturated in what the material calls a gluttonous culture.
And they give some pretty stark examples that, really hit home in 2024. Think about fast food, just how pervasive it is. We're consistently eating way more than we can actually digest healthily.
Right, or fast fashion.
Yeah.
Closets just stuffed with clothes we don't even wear, always chasing the next trend. It's wasteful, ecologically and spiritually.
Totally. And then there's that insidious modern trap. Social media flexing.
Oh, yeah.
Performing for people you barely know, right? Creating this illusion of a rich life while comparing your own struggles to other people who are probably just as broke, but, they're good with filters.
They're looking wealthy online,
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a self-feeding loop of dissatisfaction. And this is where we kind of have to look critically at the system we live in. Capitalism, by its very design, it thrives on discontentment.
How so?
Well, the whole economic structure basically needs you to believe that whatever you have right now isn't enough. It's deficient. That keeps you perpetually hungry, always chasing, and crucially, usually in debt.
But hang on, doesn't chasing capital also, encourage hard work?
Yeah.
Innovation, abundance even. Are the sources saying the system itself is bad, or just how we react to it?
That's the key distinction right there. It's not condemning the idea of production or wealth. It's condemning the idolization of just accumulating stuff.
Okay.
And Yahweh's system, it's presented as this radical divine antidote because it mandates contentment. proper stewardship if someone truly embraces 1 Timothy 6, verses 6 to 8. But godliness with contentment is great gain. Having food and raiment, let us be there with content. Well, suddenly you're an economic rebel.
Economic rebel, I like that.
Because true gain becomes spiritual peace, not just endless buying.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The spiritual weight behind just managing money. The source has made a super compelling point here. Yahweh doesn't hate wealth itself. He hates the mismanagement of it.
Exactly right. If abundance comes your way but you immediately misuse it, say, blowing a big blessing on, I don't know, Uber Eats and Yeezys, as the source puts it.
Yeah, or just constantly upgrading things you don't really need.
Right, instead of maybe sowing into community building or charity or establishing generational obedience, well, then you're labeled a squanderer, not a faithful steward. And that misuse, it's treated like a profound betrayal of trust.
And that trust, it's tested on the smallest scale first. That's what makes that analogy in Luke 16, verses 10 and 11 so powerful. Tell us about that faithfulness in the least idea.
It's the core character test. The verse says, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much." So the Lord is asking, can you handle the small stuff, the often boring funds you have right now?
Like budgeting that $500 a week or whatever it is.
Exactly. Can you be wise with that, or do you just squander it on impulse buys? And if you fail that simple, consistent test of discipline, the warning is pretty severe. If, therefore, ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches?
Okay, let's define those terms again, just really clearly for everyone listening. Unrighteous mammon, that's physical money, right? Our bank balance.
And that's tangible, temporary currency.
And the true riches, that's not a bigger house or a faster car.
No, it's spiritual authority. Divine assignments, true lasting blessing from Yahweh. Absolutely. So the way you handle that, say, $500 budget, it's a direct proxy for your spiritual readiness. If you can't manage the tangible, temporary stuff, the mammon, why on earth would Yahweh trust you with the intangible, eternal resources? The spiritual authority. Our discipline with physical cash proves our capacity for spiritual leadership. It's that direct.
And man, to make this super relatable, we all know that feeling. Payday hits, right?
Yeah.
And before you even get a chance to tithe or maybe put something aside for savings, boom, Amazon or whatever your particular weakness is, it's got your money.
Yep. For things that bring, what, maybe 5 minutes of pleasure?
Exactly. So we have to stop and really ask ourselves, if Yahweh invested abundance into my hands, what is the return he is seeing? Is it obedience? Is it wisdom? Charity?
Yeah.
Or is it just consumption and more debt?
And that very struggle brings us right into the misplaced priorities of our society today. It shows why Yahweh's path feels so, well, countercultural. Just think about what we line up for.
Oh, yeah.
People will literally camp outside, spend hours waiting in the cold for what? The new iPhone? The latest sneaker drop? Black Friday doorbusters?
It's a really striking picture of like societal worship, isn't it? Our sources highlighted that comparison.
Right.
We glorify Black Friday over the feast days, specifically mentioning Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles.
And that distinction is so important. Black Friday is like the peak of self-acquisition, self-gratification, economic isolation, really.
Right.
Sukkot, on the other hand, it's a divinely commanded time. It's about communal rejoicing, hospitality, learning, reflecting on Yahweh's provision. We're choosing consumption over community, products over spiritual law.
And you see the normalization of just financial carelessness everywhere. Like, look at those trending things on social media, girl math, boy math.
Right.
The kind of lighthearted ways people joke about justifying overspending or being irresponsible with money and make self-control seem, I don't know, old-fashioned or something.
It does. But Yahweh's math, well, it bypasses all these modern trends and justifications. Galatians 6:7 puts it plainly. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
No loopholes.
No financial or spiritual loopholes. The equation is fixed. You sow obedience and wise stewardship, you reap blessing. You sow greed and irresponsibility, you reap destruction. That law of sowing and reaping, it's inviolable no matter what the latest meme says.
Okay, so practically speaking then, what does this all mean for us? We've talked spiritual currency, diagnosed the gluttonous culture, hit on the critical test of stewardship. Now, give us the blueprint. What are the specific, actionable things, the pillars from our sources for actually storing riches in Abba's house?
Right. The sources lay out 5 really clear pillars for kingdom investment. This moves us from just talking theory to, like, daily action.
Okay, lay them out. Let's walk through the how of each one.
Okay, pillar 1, obedience first. This is absolutely foundational. Keep Yahweh's commandments. Remember Deuteronomy 28. It explicitly states that blessings, provision, they flow directly through obedience.
So your financial stability starts not with your stock portfolio, but with your covenant relationship.
Precisely. Okay, second pillar, charity and alms.
Yeah.
Give to the poor, the widows, the fatherless. Tobit chapter 4 reminds us that giving alms literally secures treasure for the eternal house.
So it's like directly transferring currency from the earth ledger to the heaven ledger.
You got it. Investing directly in people and in righteousness. Pillar 3, invest in wisdom. Study the word. Isaiah 33.6 tells us that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times.
Stability, yeah.
Your greatest, most secure investment isn't a stock or a house. It's the knowledge of Yahweh's law. That stabilizes your decision-making, protects you from worldly schemes.
I love that wisdom leads to stability. Okay, what about building wealth here in the physical realm? Does that fit in?
It does, and that leads right into pillar 4, community building. Support righteous businesses. Support your own people. Don't just constantly funnel resources exclusively into huge corporations that are often, let's be honest, spiritually indifferent.
Right, build collective power.
Exactly. Increase generational strength. Make sure that financial blessing stays within the covenant structure. We're called to be a light to the nations, right? That requires some economic independence and supporting righteous infrastructure.
Makes sense. Okay, and the last one, probably the toughest for our consumer society.
Yeah, probably. Pillar 5. Self-control, practice discipline, actively avoid gluttony, both physical and material. Proverbs 23 warns against being among, riotous eaters or drinkers. Stewardship demands we master our impulses. If you can't say no to the small, unnecessary things, how are you going to handle the large blessings responsibly when they arrive? You'll just squander them.
Wow. Okay, that is the complete synthesis we needed. So, ultimately, the central theme, the thing we really need to carry forward is this. Storing riches in Abba's house isn't about stacking dollars. It's about stacking obedience, righteousness, and faith. That's the eternal currency, the one that doesn't depreciate.
Exactly. While the world is constantly pushing this theology of greed, Yahweh pushes the doctrine of stewardship. While capitalism is always preaching more, 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 the kingdom says be content, be wise, be faithful. That distinction. It's critical for navigating this life successfully and for securing the next one.
It really forces a complete spiritual inventory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, as we leave you to think this over, maybe let this final instruction be your reflection this week. It's from Colossians 3, verse 2. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth.
It's a powerful reminder.
Thank you so much for sharing this incredible material with us, allowing us to take this deep dive into Yahweh's blueprint for wealth. Really think about it. Where do your affections truly lie?